Hi there, welcome back to the YouTube channel. I'm back again with yet another deck that I'm thinking of building when Lost Caverns of Ixalan eventually hits MTGO or comes out in real life. And yeah, this one's really not that fancy at all today. It's pretty straightforward what you have to do with this one because it's Ojer Taq Deepest Foundation, 4 and double white for a 6/6 legendary creature god. Has vigilance, so yeah, 6 mana, 6/6 for vigilance. I'll probably just cope with that on its own, but then it has an ability. If one or more creature tokens would be created under control, 3 times that many of those tokens are created instead. And when Ojer Taq dies, return it to the battlefield, tapped and transformed under its owner's control. Comes back in as a Temple of Civilization, tap to add a white, and then 2 and a white, tap it, transform Temple of Civilization, activate only if you attacked with 3 or more creatures this turn and only as a sorcery. There is nothing fancy to do with this deck, unfortunately. It is purely going to be, let's go do this with creature tokens in white. And yeah, if this card does not become a staple in every single white X token deck that exists going forward, I will be amazed. I am going to be picking one up as soon as I can on MTGO because I think the price is going to go boing, 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 boing a little bit. It'll stabilise and then it'll just hover, I think, because it's just going to be in so much demand for Commander. So I have built the deck. I've built it in MTGO, and this is what the deck looks like at the moment. As usual, start with the mana base, and it is, as you can imagine, a whole load of planes. There's nothing fancy in this deck. I've put Reliquary Tower in and Temple of the False God just to help out. Terramorphic Expanses here. We've got Evolving Wilds, Fabled Passage, and then a couple of cards I will point out. Archivist Arazaka, so we can draw some permanents when we get the City's Blessing, which we should do quite easily with the amount of tokens we're going to be creating. Desert of the True, just so we can cycle it and draw a card if we need to. You can take this out and play another planes if you want to, but I just want a little bit of card draw. Ojer Taq, the castle, is here, just so we can prevent some damage to our legendary creatures. Emeria, because we're playing planes. Why would you not play Emeria? I mean, we've got something, I think it works out around about 24 planes in the deck. I mean, you can change it. I just kept it very straightforward. You know, you could put things like the Fair Basilisk if you want to, or some of the other white lands. You know, you can put Secluded Step in for more cycling. I think Desert of the True's in there. You've got Drifting Meadows. You've got all these things you put in. You can put in the sack lands here if you want to, but I really just want to make it very simple for a change for my mana base, and that's what I've done. Mana artifact ramp wise, Mox Tantalite, Soul Talisman, Soul Ring, then Marbled Diamond, the Arcane Signet, Pearl Medallion, so I'm counting that as ramp, and that's it. It's not a complicated deck to put together from the land base. You know, there's 36 lands in the deck. I don't think we can need more than that, but we have got ways of searching them out. The first of which is obviously land tax. Again, this is a card that's really cheap on MTGO at the moment. I'm not sure what this deck works out to money wise at the moment, but yeah, land tax is one of those things I think it should be fairly easy to pick up since it was reprinted in real life as well. Paladin class is here purely just to get it to level 2 so we can pump our creatures up and have a permanent +1/+1. Path to Exile for a little bit of targeted removal. If there's something we've got to get rid of that hasn't got protection from white, we can use PTE to do it. And Elixir of Immortality to shuffle everything back in. The first of the token generation is Hopeful Vigil from Wildsvale Drain. I like this card. A 2/2 knight's quite good on turn 2 no matter what, and the ability to sacrifice it later, do a little bit of scrying when we're stuck, could be useful. Obviously, it's a creature token deck, so Intangible Virtues here to give everything +1/+1 and Vigilance. Server Expedition is one of the other sorcery speed token generators we have here. And the Flowering of the White Tree. I haven't seen this card much yet. I think we should be seeing more of it. It gives all our legendary creatures +2/+1 and have ward. We've got a few more ward 1 and we have a few more coming up. And gives all our non-legendary creatures +1/+1. So it's kind of like the old Banned Crusade card. Lightning Greaves and the Swift Foot Boots are here to protect our wonderful Ojer Taq when we get it in play. But I've also included Staff of Titania. Now, yes, we're not going to get a lot of +X+X. We won't have that many forests. But when we attack, we do get to create a Forest Dryad land creature. It's affected by Summoning Sickness, but it does help us ramp our mana. And with our wonderful commander in play, we get 3 of them. So, you're adding 3 mana maybe each turn when this is in play. It can get better than that. Anyway, but I think it's worthwhile having it here. You know, we're playing a dedicated token deck. It's probably worthwhile having this here. You can replace it with the one that gives you ally tokens, Captain's Claw. But I just like the Staff of Titania just so we get some extra mana. Halo Fountain, I am still trying to do this. You can quite happily drop this if you don't want to play it. But with this deck, with creating treble tokens when we have the command, when we have Ojer Taq in play, should be fairly straightforward to get the untapped 15 tapped creatures and win the game. Might be the only way I'll ever have of doing it, but we're trying it out, so it's here we go. Heliod's here, just chuck around some life link if we need it to gain some life. Inspiring Leader, if there was ever a deck that needed a background enchantment, it's this one. When your commander's in play, it pumps up all your creature tokens by +2/+2, so they get big very quickly and upset people. The Invasion of Belon is also around. 2/2 white-blue night creature token with vigilance. Get rid of the battle. It becomes literally another crusade, pumping all our creatures up by +1/+1. Going from there, we have Oath of Gideon. So we do have some Planeswalkers coming up, and giving them an extra loyalty counter is not the worst thing in the world, but having 2 allies might really help as well. Path of Bravery, another way of pumping our creatures up, and we gain a lot of life when we start attacking, so we should be getting the +1/+1 quite regularly from this. Prava of the Steel Legion, one of the legends that benefits from the flowering of the White Tree, gives all our creature tokens on our turn +1/+4, and we get to pump out creature tokens when we have spare mana kicking around, which we should do. You know, Nykthos is here, there's a lot of permanents in play, so it should be fairly straightforward. Siege Veterans here, because we do have a few more soldiers, and some +1/+1 counters do help out. Teferi's Protection, along with Unbreakable Formation, keeps all our tokens in play when things start to happen and go pear-shaped for us. And Glorious Anthem, slightly more expensive, and I like the artwork on the M21 one to give us the extra +1/+1, along with the Spear of the Heliod, just so we can destroy anything that does destroy. So we do have some repeatable destruction, which is nice. The Mithril Coat also makes an appearance from Lord of the Rings, just to literally go on Ojer Taq when we get them into play. Makes them indestructible. We attach it, equip creature has indestructible. We can pay the 3 if we need to put it on something else to get that indestructibility going, but it seems good. Likewise, Achroma's Wills here, give all our creatures flying, vigilance and double strike, and if we've got a commander in play, they get lifelink, indestructible and protection, so you get a really big alpha strike in one hit with this one. And yeah, if we're gonna triple everything, we might as well try and double it as well. Especially with, you know, this does help because we've got Smothering Tide as well. They do tend to go together very well, Anointed Procession and Smothering Tide. I'm not going to lie about it. I like having them both in a white deck. This one helps us get double the tokens we're creating, so either creatures or the treasure tokens. So it kind of works out nicely with everything else we have going on in this deck. Benalish Commander, probably going to suspend it as soon as we can to start getting those white soldier tokens each turn. And if we create one with our commander in play, we get 3. So, you know, soon pays itself back. And Elin Harbury's Busybody. We like making tokens with this card in play because then we get to look at the top X of our library. Top X cards of our library, sorry, and put one of those cards on our hand. So, yeah, get a little bit of filtering in card draw. It's pretty good. First Response. Now, in real life, this is fine. Not a problem with this card in real life. On MTGO, I still don't know if it's bugged or not. I haven't played it for a while. I haven't tried playing it for a while. But, you know, if you're beginning of each upkeep, if you lost life last turn, you get a soldier token at the beginning of the next turn. That sounds good to me, and I'm hoping the bugging resolves on MTGO. Heliod's here, the other version, giving all our creatures vigilance and then more mana ways of pumping out and getting 2/1 cleric tokens. They're enchantment creature tokens, so yeah, we do get to triple them up and double them up. Loyal Unicorn, gonna have the lieutenants turning up a bit more now. I've got into the lieutenants recently. This one's nice because at the beginning of the combat on your turn, if you control your commander, prevent all combat damage that would be dealt to creatures you control this turn. So you can attack with impunity and not worry about losing anything, especially since they also have vigilance. Just don't attack with a unicorn. Marielle, there's a few soldiers kicking around, and yeah, we'll get a few more, even it counts itself, and we'll get a few more tokens as things progress, hopefully with a bit of luck. Smothering Tide, I've mentioned. Archangel Elspeth makes an appearance. +1, get a white soldier token with lifelink. -2, put 2 +1/+1 counters on the target creature. It becomes an angel with flying. And then -6, return all non-land permanent cards with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. That is literally all of this section right here, they get destroyed, we get them back. So yeah, it's worth trying to keep Elspeth around if we can. Court of Grace, just a little bit of monarchy stuff, but it gives us a spirit each turn. Day of Judgment, along with Wrath of God, give a bit of board control. Gideon, ally of Zendikar, is literally going to come in and be -4 instantly to do the pump, unless we're in such a strong place where we need to start pumping out some Knight ally tokens. It is possible we do that instead. Hero Bladehold attacks, create a couple of white soldier creature tokens that taps and attacking. With our commander in play, you get a lot of tokens in play. You get 6, which is pretty cool. Leyline of the Void, Leyline of the Void's the black one. Leyline of the Meek, however, can come into play for free and pumps all our creature tokens by +1/+1. If we can get our open hand to do it. Yes, it sort of like tells everyone what we're doing, but I'm not going to worry about it with this deck. And Mundrak Glory Dominus, we had to have this one here as well. More token doubling. So yeah, it's quite fun with Moondrake Anointed Procession. I'm sure even more, which I've done before, but adding in Ojer to it as well. That's what, 3 times 2 is 6 times 2 is 12 tokens potentially. Pretty good. Starnheim Unleashed gets us some angel tokens which we can copy in. This will be foretold as soon as possible and then played later in the game. We have lots of mana flowing around. Boss's Chauffeur doesn't see a lot of play at the moment. However, enters the battlefield with a number of +1/+1 counters on it equal to 1 plus the number of other creatures we control. And then whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you get to put a +1/+1 counter on it. And then when it dies, you get a whole load of citizen tokens. If you can get this to something like 5 and have at least one of the doublers in play, you're going to be in a really good position if someone blows the board up. I'm honest with you in that score. Moving on from the Chauffeur, Defiler of Faith, we cast a white spell, permanent spell, we get a soldier token, thank you, and reduces the cost if we manage to gain a bit of life, which we should be able to. And Divine Visitation. If there was ever a home for Divine Visitation, it's this deck. Imagine turning your servos, your 2 servers into 6 4/4 angels. It can be done, and it will be very painful for your opponent. Elspeth Tyrell, just here because I haven't played this one for a while, and it gives a little bit more life gain, which I thought was quite important in this deck. And the -5 is lovely. Destroy all other permanents except for lands and tokens. If you play this and you've already got Oath of Gideon in play, and you've got a nice board worth of tokens, you can -5 straight away, blow the board up, and attack with your token army. Now, be careful because you will lose your enchantments like Intangible Virtue. But, Gideon, if they've appeared and put down wherever it's gone, lost it. If you've got this one down and got the emblem, it doesn't destroy the emblem, so your tokens will be very good. God Eternal of Ketra, we're going to be playing a lot of creature spells, so, we're playing some creature spells, but a 4/4 when we get them in play, not a bad turn off either. Although this is one I am umming and ahhing about. I did have more creatures in the original build, and I've left this in. I don't know if it needs to be in, but it's a 3/6 with double strike for 5 mana. I can cope with that. Virtue of Loyalty, the expensive one of the virtues that come from Wild's Veil Drain. Give us a knight, and then we'll just pump all our creatures up as soon as we get it into play. Captain for the Watch pumps all our soldiers we may having and gives us another 3/1/1 white soldier token creatures, which obviously becomes 9 if we have our commander in play. So 6 mana for potentially 12 damage, 12 worth of power on the board. Yeah, I can cope with that plan. Not the worst one in the world. Moving on, Daria, King of Kerjor, is also here to give us even more soldier tokens if it comes to it. Elspeth, Sun's Champion, more soldier tokens and a bit of control to destroy anything with power 4 or more. And if we can get the -7 off with the emblem, we'll win the game quite happily. Again, not that difficult with Gideon's Oath of Gideon in play to hit that, because you will hit it sort of like the turn after you play it if Gideon's in play. Or turn or 2. Sorry, 2 turns up. 3 turns you'd be able to do it. Yeah. 4 comes in with 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 3 turns you need to get there. Should be able to do it, protect her. Especially since you're creating all the white soldier tokens to protect her as you go along. Evangel of Heliod gives us a whole load of soldiers equal to our devotion to white, which is lovely. Gideon, the Oathsworn. Now, I don't think you see this one very often, but the Oathsworn's actually quite good. Whenever you attack with 2 or more non-Gideon creatures, put a +1/+1 counter on each of those creatures. So if I've got this right, you attack with a whole load of tokens. As long as there's 2 or more and this is in play, they're all going to get a +1/+1 token put on them. I think that's how it works. I'm pretty sure it is. Unfortunately, I've played Gideon the Earthsworn in a few decks you haven't seen yet, and I still haven't quite got it to work or come into play and do that. But yeah, I can dream. Valkyrie, Harbinger, we're going to be gaining some life as things go along, and I figured this was worth having in play just to see if we can get the life in. At the end of the day, if this attacks and gets us 4 life and stays around, we get some more angels with flying and vigilance, so we're not going to complain. Myojin of the Blooming Dawn comes in from the Kamigawa Neon Dynasty Commander cards, and this one's actually even more fun. Comes into play with indestructible counter, that's fine. It's 8 mana, that's a lot. However, and this is a big however, remove an indestructible counter from Myojin of the Blooming Dawn. Create a 1/1 colourless spirit creature token for each permanent we control. That is really, really strong. This deck will have a lot of permanents in play most of the time. Yes, you are at risk. You are doing 8 mana. You probably won't have, unless it's really late in the game and you're still alive, you won't have this or this around to save everything from the potential wrath of gods, damnation, so on and so forth. However, can you imagine taking the indestructible counter off, having 20 permanents in play, including your commander? Just let that sink in for a minute and imagine the 61/1 tokens you're creating. Let alone having something like Anointed Procession in play or having Moondrak in play. Probably would crash MTGO, but I'm going to try it out and I'm looking forward to trying it out, so yeah, bear that in mind. Finale of Glory, just to give us some sorcery speed creature token generation. They're 2/2, so a bit bigger, and if we can get the X above 10, which we should be able to do with Nykthos in play, getting the angels as well, so that'll be good. And White Sun Zenith, just instant speed cat token creation if we need it to happen. But that's it. I mean, it's not the fanciest deck in the world. I'm sure someone will try and break it and do something a little bit more fancy with this deck. But at the end of the day, is very straightforward. And I think is for someone who's just starting out in Commander, I think Ojer Taq is going to be expensive in real life and possibly on MTGO. But if you want to teach someone how to play, this might be a good one to teach them how to play with, because who doesn't like learning to play with attacking creatures? Anyway, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this deck tech. Please, I hope you've hit the button that's appeared somewhere here. Subscribe, please do if you haven't. I'd really appreciate it if you could. We're sitting at 264 if I remember at the moment where I record this video, so any more than welcome. As soon as the Lost Caverns of Ixalan hits MTGO, I will be picking up Ojer. Don't care about anything else. Ojer's going to be my first target card to get, and I will be playing this deck as soon as I can get it. So you'll see it on stream. I'll even put a note on this video just so people know when I'm playing it, just so it comes out. But if you want to come and follow me on Twitch, that's down below in the notes. My 250th follower on Twitch I will be contacting to see what deck they would like me to cover next on the YouTube channel here, and the same with the 300th follower here on subscriber here on YouTube. I'll contact them somehow and hopefully they'll come and tell me what deck they'd like me to see me cover. So little prize. You've seen one earlier this week for my 200th follower over on Twitch. I'm hoping Viro, the Pyro's enjoying their deck at the moment that I've helped them put together, so I'm hoping they've got it together. But yeah, that's what I do. That's how I do it. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.